Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be unboxing the IronJawZ Warcry Warband. Here we go, the Warcry IronJawZ Warband, and I hope this video is going to help you have a good insight into what you get in the box and help you decide if this is the warband for you. In the video I'll unbox them, go through all the contents, and then we'll take a close look at each of the fighter types and their abilities. Let's do this. So the Warcry IronJawZ, and I think I just love every single warband that's come out, to be honest. So I'm pretty biased because I think they're all great, but these ones were pretty low on the list. But once I kind of looked into them more and more, and then looked at the box, I think they do look really cool. And I think comparing these to like a warband, like my favourite, the Corvus Cabal, or the Unmade, they're just so different. These big, like chunky, like guys going in there, really tough and strong, against the more agile and skinny kind of Corvus Cabal fighters. I think it's going to be a really interesting contrast and great fun to play. And here's the box here. So it says we get 10 miniatures and 9 cards, and it shows us here we get the Ardboys with Ardboy choppers and the Ardboy boss, and then we get a brute with Gore chopper, a brute boss, and a brute, and it says we get 5. So I thought it was going to be 5 of these, and then these other ones 7 to make 12, but it says because there's 10, I'm guessing you get 5 that you can then from that make the brute boy, the brute boss, and the brute with Gore chopper. So let's open it up and find out. But it looks really cool. And the colour scheme, the yellow I wasn't sure about. But I think if you make this a bit more grungy, a bit darker, I think that's going to look great. So let's open it up and see what we get. And like all these Warcry boxes, I look forward to seeing the Warband rune mark when we open up this flap here. Let's see what we get. Yeah, there we go. That's a cool one. I think my favourite so far, surprisingly, is the Caradron Overlords. Their rune mark's really fun, but this is great. That's a really cool one. Now on the original kind of older sets, they're a bit smaller boxes, and you get a tray where you'd pull it all out. But with these, they're just in the box like this. But right away, I can see there's a lot more than we'd normally be getting from a Warcry Warband. So let's see what we've got here. Get rid of this box. So we've got our bases, and we've got 5 in there, and then 5 there. So 5 big bases, which is great. So you can tell these are going to be like real tough. These must be for the brutes, I guess. And then we've got our sprues, loads of sprues for a warband. And then we get our cards, fighter type, abilities, and then we get tokens, which is really nice, and then the instruction book. So let's open this up and take a look at the instruction book first. And there we are, we've got these 5 and these 5, so we've got brutes and Ardboys. I've no idea of how many points these are going to be, so whether you choose to just play as brutes or Ardboys, we'll find out, or whether you can mix the two. I'm hoping you can mix the two, but we'll see. And here we are. I'm looking for the different options for how to build them. So we've got brute boss chopper. So he's got a claw brute smasher. Oh, this is cool. I didn't see that on there. So this is the brute smasher. That's a really cool weapon. And then you can make either one of these models, I suppose, here. Man, that claw's nuts. Look at that. I would kind of want all 3 weapons, huh? And then we've got the brute with pair of brute choppers, jagged gore axe, and a gore chopper. That gore chopper is great. Look at that. That's really fun. And we've got lots of faces, so I'm hoping we get some spares here. Some alternatives maybe there. And again here, these are nice touches. We've got 7 different choices that we can place on the armour. That's really great. So hopefully we get some spares we can use in some objective markers. And then we've got these here, the Ardboys with all different weapons. Man, these are great variations. I like that guy. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 masks. So lots of choices there. This is looking really good. And we've got a nice paint guide. And again, these don't do they don't include the contrast paints in these paint guides, I notice, but it gives you a good idea for a base shade and then layers. As a beginner painter, and because I've bought pretty much every single Warcry Warband to get painted, and then we can get playing with some battle reports, I'm trying to paint them with the contrast paints because I'm just not up to this standard yet. And the contrast paints I'm finding are a great way to get them on the table at a decent tabletop ready standard. But this is nice for if you're like more advanced than I am, then this is a great guide to use. So that's our booklet. Now let's get these token sets out. So these are usually coloured to match the kind of order of destruction or chaos. And there we are. We've got the green ones there. Really nice. And then for these objective markers, I'm going to be making those on the same 50mm bases this size. So we've got some actual 3D objective markers. I think that's going to be much more fun when you're playing the game. Like if there's a treasure that you've got to get to and secure, but you can actually see it and it's got little coins or jewels or whatever, or a magical weapon or something like that. I think actually seeing it as an objective marker rather than a token is going to be a lot more fun, and it's just going to add to the kind of whole narrative of the play. I'm also going to customize the tokens, customize the 3D objective markers for each warband. So that's a huge project, but look out for those videos coming soon. But that's those. Let's put those there too. Okay, let's look at the sprues next. So we've seen how they come together, and here we've got 1, 2, 4 double sprues. Or like, as far as the Warcry Warbands are concerned, we've got 4 doubles and 1 kind of smaller one there. I'm already seeing that these are going to be big. I've never bought any Oryx before, so for me this is all completely new. And before Warcry, and before picking up the Corvus Cabal and Catacombs, I hadn't bought any Age of Sigmar miniatures either. So I'm just really getting into it, and it's really cool to see all the different warbands. And that's what I really like about Warcry. You can kind of just like dip in with one set and really get a flavour of how the different factions play. And I think that's really fun. Rather than having just one big army, I like having all the different warbands. So that's our first one. Yeah, we're getting so many weapons and details in this set. This is so cool, look at that. And it's huge. So imagine that going up against one of the unmade or something. That's nuts. And then more. I think the more I'm looking at these, the more I can't wait to get them built and painted up. I think the whole lore of the Oryx is just so fun. And the idea of them in the 8 points just wanting to fight all the time is brilliant. Look at these weapons, man. They're so good. And then our final one. Got this big banner. That's pretty great. I mean, imagine that on an objective marker there. Or that. Could use that for something. So lots of ideas here. Really cool. Tons of sprues. So that's really great. So this would be £36 this set normally. I got it on Element Games for £30 60 pence. I'll put a link in the description below so you can get that. And I think for that value, you're getting 10 of these large miniatures and all this other stuff. I think that's really good. Great value. But let's look at the fighter cards, the fighter types, and the abilities. So all these sets come in, you get the abilities and the different fighters there. You get them in all the different languages. We only need English, so let's get rid of these. And this is cool. We've got 9 different fighters there. The Brute Boss with Boss Claw and Brute Smasher. The Brute with Jagged Gore Hacker. Brute with Gore Chopper. Brute Boss with Boss Chopper. Brute with 2 Brute choppers. An Ardboy boss with Auric Forged chopper and smasher. That's nice, I like that. Ardboy with Auric Forged big chopper. Ardboy with Auric Forged chopper and smasher. And Ardboy with Auric Forged chopper and Auric Forged shield. Just the names are cool, but these weapons and configurations look mental. And I like this. These are painted differently to the ones on the box, and that's good. I like how rugged they look. I like this black armor. That's really nice. With just these little bits of accent color there. That's good. Yeah, nice. Okay, we've got some abilities, which I'm hoping are going to be kind of funny or fun, but let's find out. And then we've got our cards. So we get our duplicate cards, and then these are if you have like more than one fighter type, and you've only got one fighter type card, you can use that to keep track of both of them. So that's those. There's the back of the card, again with that great looking Warband rune mark. And then the image just like really fade. I really like they do such a good job on these cards. They're really nice. And then we'll work our way up from the lowest to the highest. And so let's take a look at each fighter one at a time. And starting with our Ardboy with Auric Forged chopper and smasher. And so he's the lowest point fighter type, and that's 110 points with a movement of 3, can take 15 damage with a toughness 4. He's got the Auric Forged chopper and smasher, which is a range of 1, 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So 110 points, he can take some hits, but he can also dish it out. So he's got no extra abilities, and he does have the abilities that come with the Warband. So let's look at those. So it looks like every member of the Ironjawz is going to get double, called Charge, and a quad called Rampage in Destroyer. So let's look at the double first. So this is Charge. A fighter can use this ability only if there is a visible enemy within 6 inches of them. This fighter makes a bonus move action and must finish closer to the closest visible enemy fighter than they were at the start of that move action. Okay, so for a double, you can really get in close and put the pressure on. And these guys are going to want to be going in hard and keeping the fight up close and personal. I doubt there's any range at all in these weapons. And they just want to get in there and hack away. And let's see what the quad is. The Rampage in Destroyer. Until the end of this fighter's activation, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of attack actions made by this fighter. In addition, each time an enemy fighter is taken down by an attack action made by this fighter this activation, this fighter can make a bonus move action. Okay, so they're already going to get that extra 1 to the attacks characteristic, but if they can take down an enemy fighter by an attack action made by this fighter, they can make that bonus move action. So I guess once they've hit someone, taken them down, they're all like enraged and they want to move on to the next character. And so having this ability here can move them towards the next enemy fighter and keep dishing out the damage. So that's just our first fighter card, and already we can see they're going to do a lot of damage here if that's just the first one. Awesome. So that's our Ardboy with Auric Forged chopper and smasher. And next we're going to move on to our Ardboy with Auric Forged big chopper. And again, he's 110 points. And he's got a movement of 3, can take 15 damage with toughness 4. Got a range of 1, 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So he's a little bit tougher than the previous guy we saw. Same amount of points, but 1 less attack. But it's tougher and it deals... strength's the same, but it deals extra 2 instead of that 1. So interesting how you'd play these two. Both tough and for 110 points. And then with the abilities, they're both getting the double charge and the quad Rampage in Destroyer. There we go. So that's our second one. 2 tough characters there. And now we're on to our Ardboy with Auric Forged chopper and Auric Forged shield. So this one's a little bit more, 125 points. And he's got a movement of 3, can take 15 damage, as you would expect with the shield. He's a little bit tougher, and that shield's going to give him an extra ability too, which is nice. And he's got a range of 1, can make 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. And let's see what that extra ability is. And like all the others, he's got the double charge and the quad rampage and destroyer. But on the double, he's got the shield bash. After this fighter's next move action, this activation, pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter and roll a dice. On a 4 to 5, allocate 1 damage point to that fighter. On a 6, allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of this ability. So I like these shield bash doubles. So for 125 points, you get this ability, and if you're rolling 6s and it's a double 6, you're dealing some serious damage with quite a low point fighter. So it's a really good ability. And he's also got the others to play around with too. But I think you really want to be getting this guy in there with that shield bash. And with that extra toughness, he can be up front taking those hits. And that's a really cool fighter to have. Great, so that's the Ardboy with Auric Forged Chopper and Auric Forged Shield. Now we're on to our Brute with 2 Brute Choppers, and he's 180 points, movement 3, can take 25 damage, and is toughness 5, and he's got an extra ability here, and so he's got a range of 1, he can make 4 attacks with strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So really strong, tough, can take it, but can also dish it out. And let's see what the extra ability is going to be. Alrighty, so again, we've got the double charge and the quad rampage and destroyer, but we've also got this double duff up, the big thing. That's such a great name for the ability. Until the end of this fighter's activation, add 2 to the attacks and strength characteristic of attack actions made by this fighter that have a range characteristic of 3 or less, and that target an enemy with a wounds characteristic of 15 or more. Okay, so there's lots to kind of take in there, but we can add 2 to the attack and strength characteristic of attack action made by the fighter that have a range of 3 or less. So we know he's got a range of 3 or less. So that's crazy. That's going to give him 6 attack, strength 6, and that enemy fighter has to have a wounds characteristic of 15 or more. So I wonder if I guess they have the wounds characteristic of 15 more, but they could have already taken some wound damage, I guess. So as long as that enemy fighter's got the wound characteristic of 15 or more, this guy can go in and sort him right out with 6 at 2 to 4 crit. Man, that's mad. That's a lot. So that's really awesome. Just for a double, that's cool. So this is the guy you want to get in there and do some serious damage on those high damage point enemy fighters. Really cool. So that's great. That's our Brute with 2 Brute Choppers. So our next value card is 180, but I want to keep going with the Brutes and the Ardboys here. So I'm going to skip to this one, which is the Ardboy Boss with Auric Forged Chopper and Smasher. And this is a great looking miniature. I can't wait to get this painted. I love the kind of the yellow, the black, and we get some serious like grunge and battle damage on this armor. It's going to look great. So at 190 points, this is our leader. This is our boss, and he's got the same movement 3. He can take 25 damage with a toughness 4. He's got a range of 1, can make 4 attacks, strength 5, 2 to 5 damage. So he's a fair amount of attacks there. Really strong, dealing out the damage, and I'm excited to see what this leadership rune ability is. So again, he's got the double charge and the quad rampage and destroyer, but we've got the triple wah. Add the value of this ability to the move characteristic of friendly fighters within 6 inches of this fighter when this fighter uses this ability until the end of the battle round. Okay, so if he's going in with friendly fighters close to him, he's like one of the first ones activated. He gives them the value of this ability to the move characteristic. So if there's a 6, they can really charge in doing like 9 movement, and they can all use that until the end of the battle round. That's mad. So a triple can really push them forward. So because 3 is not a lot of movement, and especially for a warband, you want to get in close. But if you can use this ability and really charge at the opponent, that's mad. That's going to do a lot of damage. And can you imagine if you get a triple and a double and you can charge them in and then use Duff Up the Big Thing? That's nuts. I love it. That's great. So that's our Hard Boy boss with Auric Forge, Chopper and Smasher. And now we're on to the Brute with Jagged Gore Hacker. So this is up there, 180 points, movement 3, can take 25 damage with 5 toughness, and he's got a nice ability there with a range of 1, can make 3 attacks at strength 5, dealing 2 to 4, and he just looks awesome. I really like the way that's painted. And that ability is again a double Duff Up the Big Thing, which is going to be probably one of my favourite abilities from now on. Just saying it's cool. I think that's a really good ability to have, and he's another one you want to get up there fighting against the opposition leader. So that's great. That's our Brute with Jagged Gore Hacker. Next we've got a Brute with Gore Chopper, and at 200 points he's got a movement 3, 25 damage he can take, and a toughness of 5, and he's got a range of 1, 3 attacks, strength 5, dealing 3 to 6 damage. Now this is like getting higher and higher. 3 to 6 with 3 attacks is nice, and he's got that ability of Duff Up the Big Thing. Another tough character that you want to get in there amongst it, taking down that enemy. So these all seem pretty like simple, not too many abilities, but that's going to suit the narrative of these guys who just want to go in, get up close and personal and dish out the damage. I love it. They're so fun. It's going to be great playing these. So that's our Brute with Gore Chopper. Right, now we're on to our Brute boss with Claw and Brute Smasher. So he's going to be our leader. He's got 250 points, which is as you would expect for a leader. He's got some mad armour, and this claw is great. And so he's got a range of 3. He can take a huge amount of damage at 35, and his toughness is 5. His weapon's got a range of 1 with 4 attacks, strength 5, dealing 2 to 5 damage. So that's really nice. And he's got these abilities here. So let's look at those. So like all the others, he's got the double charge. He's got the quad rampaging destroyer. He's got the Duff Up the Big Thing. And now he's got another triple, which is the grab and bash. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter and roll a dice. On a 3+, until the end of the battle round, that fighter cannot make move actions or disengage actions. In addition, on a 6, this fighter can make a bonus attack action against that enemy fighter. Okay, so for a triple, as long as you're close there, which you're going to be, on a 3+, until the end of that round, that fighter cannot make move actions or disengage. So they're going to be punished and made to kind of stay there and take some damage. And in addition, if they get a 6 on that roll, they get a bonus action. So they keep them from escaping and they get that bonus action. That's devastating. But we've also got another one, the leadership one, the triple WAR, which we went through, but let's recap. Add the value of this ability to the move characteristic of friendly fighters within 6 inches of this fighter when this fighter uses this ability until the end of the battle round. So good abilities here. I mean, there's so much to do with this one. A really interesting character. He's tough, he's strong, he's got these abilities. That's brilliant. I love it. So that's our Brute boss with Boss Claw and Brute Smasher. Okay, now we're on to our final fighter. And this is our Brute boss with Boss Chopper. And there he is. Great weapons. He's got the head there. I think there's a variation on this in the builder, but this looks great. He's got the head, which is fun. So we've got 255 points. So he's our most expensive points for this leader. He's got movement 3. Again, can take a serious amount of damage. And he's tough. He's got his 2 abilities. And his weapon's got a range of 1, can make 3 attacks with a huge strength 6, dealing 3 to 6 on a crit. And let's take a look at those abilities now. So again, he's got the double charge, the quad rampaging destroyer, he's got the triple WAR, and he's got that double Duff Up the Big Thing. So there's so many abilities here. And with so many of these fighters having that double Duff Up the Big Thing, these are serious punishment coming out of these guys. I think it's going to be really cool to see how they all work together against some weaker, faster opponents, and that's going to be the issue here. It's getting them up close so they could deal this damage. But that's great, so that's our final one, our brute boss with boss chopper. It's all up. I think these are a really cool warband, and you're getting some great value as well, I think, for the price. You're getting these 10 miniatures that are just packed with different weapons, features, and hopefully there's going to be some leftovers there that we can use on the objection markers. I hope this video has given you a good insight into what the Ironjaws are all about and how they might play in Warcry. I think they're really great, and I think they're going to make a nice addition, and to contrast those other kind of faster, less strong players like Corvus Cabal, and certainly against the Unmade. I think that would be such an interesting combination of different warbands against each other. It's going to be crazy. But the main thing with these Ironjaws is to get them up close so they can do that damage. And with that Duff Up the Big Thing ability, they really are going to do that damage. So I guess if you're fighting them, you've got to keep your distance and stay out of that range, and try and prevent that punishment coming your way, which I think would be quite tough. Once they're within range of you, it's going to be quite difficult to get away from them. So let me know what you think in the comments below. What you like about these? What's your favourite ability? Have you got them? Have you played them? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll put a link in the description so you can pick the warband up yourself with Element Games, and you can save up to 20% on the RRP. There'll be affiliate links, but they don't cost you anything. In fact, they're going to save you money, and for every sale that I get through an affiliate link, I get a small commission that's going to help me develop the channel and provide much more content for Warcry, including like battle reports and that kind of thing. So thanks so much for watching. I really hope it helps you out. Please like if you like the video, subscribe for more Warcry content like this, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Game.